are so important. They'll say it's energy in motion, but they still fully haven't grasped that these were the energies that were used to create what we see today, emotions.
Okay.
Do you know
Okay.
when God thought of the mere thought of what he was going to create, it brought sentiment.
Mm,
And these sentiments created what you know of as sentient beings.
mm,
These sentiments created sentiment beings, beings that could feel what he felt, the ability to feel what God feels. This is what emotions are. And if you do the alchemy correctly, right? When you come into contact with the divine, you can have a shared experience and a shared emotion.
hmm.
You can feel the divine joy. You can feel the divine You can feel the divine love. You can feel the gratitude. You can feel the peace that surpasses all understanding. All of these are the things that created sentient beings,
I
were
love that
these original
response.
emotions.
I love that. Now, before I pass it to you, Crystallize, I want everybody who just joining, I want to ask you a simple question, and we're going to ask a lot of these different questions over the course of this live. And I want you to put your response in the comment in the comment section. How did all things come to be? Right, and
Mm.
I want you to give your response
Good.
to that in the comment section.
Y'all
Now,
good?
Crystallize.
Oh,
Uh, I would
okay.
like you to
Okay.
answer
Cool.
that question.
You say me? My bad. I had to check on something right quick. My bad. Just repeat the last part. I heard the first part.
How did all things come to be?
Um, I like I like heavy. And see, this is when we can go into that place of unknowing because all of this at this point, and this shouldn't be discredited. I feel like, especially as melanated scholars, the ability of us to be able to tap into our neuro melanin and access the cosmic based off of us doing actual research and scholarship and knowledge. We've traced these things back. We traced the pyramids. We studied these things. So these hypotheses should be just as credible as Einstein or any other person that wrote history. These occult these hypotheses should be I guess it's verifiable. You know what I'm saying? That it's tangible. It's not just
It's
to be thrown
probable.
aside, right?
It's
So
the word you're looking for is
it's
probable.
probable. Yeah, probable. There we go. You know you the word, man. I appreciate you. Yes, sir. So it's probable hypotheses, right? So I like the idea of emotions because emotions is what we use to create in this realm. But you know me, both of y'all kind of heard my sentiment when it comes to the creation of the universe. It originated from thought. I feel like that's where the Bible is a very powerful book when it describes the creation, but you have to know how to be in that space as the God with God and understand that you're the Son.
Mm,
And the Son is cultivating and creating everything via light, via imagination. So we literally create the world based off of our imagination. So what makes you get imaginative? Your emotions. The emotions like joy. You can create beautiful things from joy. You can create destructive things from hate. So I feel like as God's children, we create in this world that He created as the Adam and Eve's, constantly being reborn and recreating and making gardens. And we're, cultivating and organizing our universe, which is just you, your inner verse, and you're externalizing that based off of your imagination. What do you want to be? We were told as children, what do you want to be when you grow up?
right.
But we're told what we can be. I feel like we need to expand the idea of what you can be. And I think we'll constantly create a more and more beautiful world based off of that space
Now
of
watch
being
this,
empty.
right?
Yeah.
Now look, I love both of you guys' responses, right? And I love even more so when you said that each hypothesis should not be discounted, but should be viewed as a potential probability
A
of
new
something that
research
could
study. This is
that
a new
that
drop, right? This is a new paper that
so
just was
now
dropped.
but look, but watch this though. Excuse me. My response to it first and foremost would be I don't know.
Okay.
right? Because for me, I'm looking at knowing as I would, certain like I know that I'm right here talking to you, right? I consider that to be a knowing, right? It's indisputable. It's my personal experiences. No one can be able to take that from me. This is something that I know, and those who are bear witness to me in this current moment also knows these things as well, right? I'm here. I'm talking to you. So me, I have no problem with identifying with things that I don't know, meaning without knowing. You understand what I'm saying? And the things that I have with me accepting that I don't know as it pertains to how all things came to be. I can have a hypothesis to your point, crystallized. I can give you something as magnificent and just as beautiful as what Heavy gave us, right? You know what I'm saying? I could take historical, cultural ideologies and mythologies and esoteric teachings and symbolisms and so on and so forth, and I can come up with something to tell you how these things came to be. But if for me, I cannot sit here and tell you with 100% certainty that I know these things to be, right? So to me, I don't have a problem with that because when I surrender to that, I'm able to get closer to the knowing, right?
Mhm.
Me identifying the fact that I just don't know. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? I have already took myself closer to the knowing. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a part that we have all got away from in this community. Like what Heavy was just saying, he's so great, I can't even tell you all about it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just too much. And some things, and when we're dealing with that level up there, hey man, ain't no way in hell anybody can come look me in my face and tell me that they know. You know what I'm saying? I'll listen to
Yeah.
what you think, I'll listen to what you feel,
Yeah.
I'll listen to what you believe. But it ain't no way you can tell me that that's a 100% knowing as we understand knowing here on this realm without being semantical. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, this is a part of the connection with the all I feel like it's missing from a lot of these spaces, and I want to hear y'all perspective on that as well.
Yeah, I think that when people say knowing, they believe that they have to know the full interpretation of the thing.
Mhm.
That's not necessarily true when it pertains to knowing. That goes into a different level of wisdom because people always say wisdom is applied knowledge. No, wisdom is deeper than applied knowledge. Like in the book of Ecclesiastes, who is as the wise man who knows the interpretation of a thing? This
Hmm.
is true wisdom, the interpretation of a thing, the full interpretation. Knowing it on that level this creates a wisdom. But when we're talking about just the knowledge of something, to have the knowledge of something is to be aware of it. To have the knowledge of something is to have the realization or to be conscious of it. It's to recognize, it's to be friendly with. You know what I mean? This is knowing. You know what I mean? Just like I know joy because I have a relationship with it.
Yeah.
Now, can I fully grasp the fullness of joy? I don't think I have. But do I know joy? Yes. You
Mm.
see? Do I know the creator? Yes. But do I know all of his thoughts and his intentions that he has for me? No. You see? So there's different most people when they speak of knowledge, they speak as if they have it all. Knowledge doesn't mean that you know it all. It means that you're conscious of. It just means that you're conscious of. And a lot of times people do the latter. Do the first. They just feel like, well, if I know it, that means I got to know everything about it. It's not true. You know, um, and just like I know how the creator created the universe, just like I explained it. But do I know all of the processes that he went through in order to do that? I don't. But
Yeah.
I know that because that's what he's shown me. You see what I'm saying? So I know that. I know that to be true. But all of the processes, I don't know. All of the steps and the procedures and the mechanisms that he used to do it and all of that, I don't know, you know?
And right
And
there
it,
in that space right there is the power, is the beauty.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's in that moment you realize that there's truly a jurisdiction in space that you ain't gonna ever be able to even
But
touch
it
it,
gives you
even
something
get.
to adventure too, though. It gives you a
No,
reason to
but
get up
look,
and study a little bit more.
no, for sure. But crystallize, you ain't gonna never know the part that Heavy
Yeah,
said that
for sure.
he don't know. He ain't gonna never know,
Yeah.
right? And that's when you dealing with that's like whenever a creature comes across a more dominant creature, there's ways in which it shows that it knows that it's in the face of something more dominant, right?
Mm,
So, and I'm only using that from an animalistic zoology standpoint, meaning that when you recognize that you're in the face of something that is so majestic, and then these words are even limiting on what it is that you're experiencing. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? But that knowing that part I ain't gonna never know. Science, they call it the unobservable universe. You know what I'm saying? You have what science calls the observable universe and what science calls the unobservable universe, where they know for a fact that this aspect of space they ain't gonna never be able to see. It don't matter how fast and smart they is, they ain't gonna never be able to see that because they
yeah.
understand the distances and the you know what I'm saying. It get crazy weird. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we connect back to source. That's how you connect back to the creator. That's how you connect back to the purpose of this. So now once you get back down to reality, you have a different level of appreciation for the minute things, right? Because you realize that there was a process that you ain't gonna never understand that was used to make all of this happen. And all you need to do is have a level of appreciation for these things, you know what I'm saying? Because you understand it was a great deed that went into making it and allowing it to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as far as you went up to go and see, you could build the biggest tower of Babel you want to get to. You ain't gonna get it. Certain it's gonna hit your ass at a cap. And you if you don't respect that, your whole perspective is whack. You know what I'm saying? And this is what a
And,
lot of people have negated, and they get trapped in this I know shit. They know every
even
motherfucking thing. You know what I'm saying?
and
And they
even if
don't want
you
to
had the knowledge, and even if you had all the knowledge, it doesn't mean you could fully understand it.
exactly.
Mhm.
You can have all the knowledge and still not understand it. God could flash it all before your eyes right now, and it still doesn't mean you understand it.
Exactly.
So it
Ain't that
goes
that's
deeper.
powerful. That's to me, because we get on here and a lot of times people what they do is that they create a box and then they invite people into the box and then they create a space to where the box seems bigger than what it actually is. It's like an illusion or a magic trick. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
when you realize that this is just a box that's been put on in front of you, like how we all in boxes here, it's just a box that's been put on you to try to narrow your ways of thinking. But the reality is that this conversation is what we like. I know I heard you say a few times, crystallize. Oh, we should be doing this, or we should be talking about that. And I don't usually like to say that to people because I don't want to make people feel like I'm controlling what they should or shouldn't do. But the reality is that these types of conversations is what we all should be having because
Yeah.
in these types of conversations, so many people can truly get grounded. This is how you truly
Yeah.
ground the soul and ground the spirit by truly remembering, recognizing, and paying attention to that great might power that supersedes and beyond you. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
And the
Like
powerful
heavy,
part about remembering is you don't have to externalize remembering. Remembering is something that happens inside of you. That I just got that as a download. It's an internal thing to remember. You don't even have to say you remember. You remember because you was there.
hmm
So once a
hmm
memory hits you, it don't even have to be expressed. It's
exactly.
just an
What
internal
what you
thing.
what, right, and what you're describing, remembering, is exactly what it is. Is putting the parts. That it's a form of grounding.
It is.
Remember, remembering is a form of grounding.
It is.
And if anyone knows anything about electricity, you have to have the ground. You have you have this grounding, right? And you have to ground your electricity. What it does is it allows you to pull energy from the ground, but also if there's any overloads, right?
hmm
You send it through a neutral cable, and it allows for that energy to be re-released back into the ground so that you don't
Absolutely.
experience overload,
Overload.
right?
Exactly.
Right. So a lot of times this is what happens on a spiritual level. So many of us get bombarded with things, right?
hmm
And we don't recognize that this is a signal.
Mm-hmm.
that we need to reground ourselves,
Yep.
right? And one of the first steps of grounding oneself is remembrance,
Yes.
remembering, re-putting things back into the right order in which they belong. You know, because a lot of
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
times we'll stretch ourselves thin. We'll align things that don't really should be attached, even though there's an interconnection. We're putting them together in the wrong order.
Mm.
Absolutely.
So you have to remember. You really have
Mm-hmm.
to, and remember is not just a reminding;
Right.
it's a re-putting back to remembering.
Reordering,
Yep.
restructuring of the
Yeah,
brain.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
That's valid.
I love that, and also, one thing that the scriptures, the Bible said that I actually got tattooed on me, Psalms 119, verse 9 through 26. It says, "How can a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto
But
according to thy word." You understand? And what that's there to remember, to be reminded of the importance of the way, right? Which is in many ways is what heavy is talking about, right? And to cleanse that way. That's to put things back into its proper perspective, put things back into its proper order when it has gone astray, when it has gone when it's unaligned, et cetera, et cetera. And these are the things that we need. So a lot of times, what the conscious spiritual community has done, many people attempt to do these things through spaces of meditation. The conversation and meditation is more prominent than it's ever been before. People talk a lot about astral travel. People talk a lot about connecting to ancestors and doing rituals that would have helped them align back to ancestral and or spiritual entities and beings. So the conversation is here again. The problem is that people don't truly have that relationship with the I don't know. This is just my opinion, right? Because everybody's so fascinated on trying to know. I want to know, 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 I want to know. And that's not going to allow for them to come to the space of I don't know if they don't allow it to. And I think that that's something that's going to help the grounding, help the remembering. You remember, you don't know shit. And what
Yeah.
that does for you is so healing. It's so therapeutic. You know what I'm saying? And it causes the spiritual grounding that everybody really is yearning for. You know what I'm saying? Because you can relax a little bit. You know what I'm saying? When you on
Yeah.
a quest of knowing, it's like, damn, if I don't know this, then I'm inadequate. If I don't know this, I'm insufficient. If I don't know this, I'm incompetent. If I don't know this, I'm incapable to be able to lead. No, once you hit that space of I don't know, you could be able to relax and allow for the process and the journey of itself to unfold, the experience to be an experience, for the lessons to be the lessons, and then for you to be able to maneuver through those things and share those things in the most, a flow-like state possible. But the only way to get there is through the I don't know.
And when you said that, it reminded me of like when you said remember, it reminded me of getting back with your members, like reorganizing the members. Like then I thought about a
right,
theory a little bit with the whole genealogy thing. We do need to remember who we are in the sense of getting in tune with our ancestry, but I feel like beyond beefing about that, we should see each other as we all come from one. I think that's the ultimate remembrance that we all come from one source. And then once
Absolutely.
we remember that, we can put ourselves back together and then organize. And now,
In
yeah,
Chicago, I come from an organized nation that its motto or slogan is all is one, right? One is all and all is one, right? And we have an oppositional people who have the slogan is all is well, right?
mhm,
And we there's a prophecy that when all is well, all is one, and when all is one, all is well, right? And there's a level of understanding that transpires when you know that all is well, right? That's a level of peace. That's a level of
man,
tranquility.
you got to remember that we forget that all is well and all will always be well. I think that goes back to like what Heavy said about faith. Remembering that
Absolutely.
how
No, but
many
it, but it,
times
but but
have I
that's
been here
annoying. But
before?
hold on, wait. But this is annoying,
Ooh, that make it more powerful. Not as real
right?
faith, not as God faith. It's Christ.
No,
That's
but
the Christ. That's the Christ.
exactly.
That's
That's my
Christ faith.
point. That's my point. You know what I'm saying? So all is one, truly. You know what I mean? So you will see her throw out one, you know what I'm saying? So, this is something that I love to talk about because what it does is that it creates the spirit of unification, right?
Mhm.
And when you create this spirit of unification, it engulfs and encompasses all of the people who are present in that space, right?
Yeah.
There's
And then you could begin to feel the power of that unified force. Because now that unified force begins to, you can look at each other, you be like, damn, we all on the same energy of this, and then this is where innovative thoughts come in. This is when nations build. This is where all of these different things emerge. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you saying that, Crystallize. I definitely want you to continue to elaborate on that for sure.
Okay.
there's
Go ahead, Heavy. I
I
seen you had
was
some.
saying there's two aspects of grounding that most people have to take into consideration. And I'll give you two G's since grounding deals with a G. It'll be easy to remember with a G. There's one aspect of grounding that deals with gripping, you know, and there's one aspect of grounding that deals with giving up, gripping and giving up,
Mm,
right? Um, some things you're attached to, they need to be let go. Some things you're not, you haven't beheld or you are holding that you need to grip and possess and get into your possession. You know, many people, when they think of grounding, they merely think of the earth. They give you this earth talk. Well, I got to take my shoes off and feel the energies from, no, no, no. I'm talking a spiritual grounding, right? And this is you gripping something that is not tangible.
woo. Hey, that's a word. That's a word right there. I ain't gonna lie.
This is true grounding does not happen when you take your shoes off. True grounding happens when you remember and renew your mind, and still your mind. You see, without the stealing of the mind, you can't truly ground yourself. And so many people get caught up in these certain processes that they've been taught through yoga and neo spirituality that they miss that this is a spiritual concept. Grounding is a spiritual concept. This deals with spirituality, right? But go ahead, crystallize.
No, no, that was Angel Cyrus telling me.
Oh, okay, yeah. But yeah, it's definitely, like I said, gripping something that is intangible, and how do you grasp something that is intangible, that is not tangible? You grab it by beholding it.
Mm,
You grab it by beholding it. You grab it by setting your mind on it.
mm.
When you set your mind on it, now you can see it. Now you can behold it. Now you can feel it. If I can see it, I can feel it.
See,
If I can see it, I can feel it. If I see something happening to someone all the way down the street, if I see it, I can feel it.
yeah.
Physically, I can't touch them, but I can see it and I can feel it. You see? So a lot of us, when it comes to grounding, remember those two G's: gripping and giving up.
Now, I know
The-
that you say, I know you said a lot of people, when they think about grounding, they think about earthly, but that with those two G's that you had gave made me think about the exact relationship
How you doing?
of earth, right? Meaning that
Mhm.
the seed falls, or someone either to
Okay,
give
cool.
the seed or the
All right,
seed
cool. See
falls,
you
it
soon.
gives itself up, right, to the earth, to the soil, to the earth. And what the earth does is that it grabs it. You understand? And it pulls it in. You know what I'm saying? And then the seed also has to give itself up again when you see it, when you start to see the sprouting process, right? You know what I'm saying? And then you see the earth pulling that motherfucker, or gripping it and pulling that motherfucker in down. So there's it kind of reminded me of this relationship of dualism, obviously. This relationship of a natural flow, even breath. You know what I'm saying? This 1-2 rhythm, that all of us continue to have, and in that rhythm, we are able to be grounded. Think about your breath, and when you begin to focus on breath, that 1-2, that inhale, that exhale, that do that do, that allows for you to ground. It allows for you to
Hmm.
settle, to calm, to become meditative, if you will,
It's dual in
contemplate.
nature too. It's almost a
Truly.
GG, reinforcing the GG in a way too, where it's a gripping and a giving, almost like you have to take in, receive. So there's a time to be a listener, there's a time to be a student, and there's a time to be a teacher. So you taking in and then you giving. So I feel like it's almost like the ultimate duality. That's why they focus on the breath so much in spirituality or Buddhism, because it's also a metaphor in the whole essence of life. Is you get life, you give life. You live and then you die. You inhale and exhale. It's all in masculine, feminine, receiving and giving. It's
Right.
so symbolic when you start to remember who you really are, and that it takes
And
you back to
also
the ultimate constant.
just to add to heavy as far as how to grip something that's intangible. He mentioned to behold. I would also just add to that to embody,
Yeah,
right?
embody.
You know,
You
to
can't hold it
embody
if you
these
don't. Oh, you're not on the same frequency.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
just I just wanted to add that for people who didn't necessarily kind of who didn't understand what it means to behold something.
that's
You know what I'm
valid.
saying? You know, to almost embody it is to behold it. You know what I'm saying? So just to add that portion of it. See, these are the type of conversations that I love. You know what I'm saying? And like I could create space for the debates. I could create space for the smooth disagreement, so to speak, but the biggest thing is how to become grounded. We become grounded by these types of conversations because now all of us are reminded of that. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That
Let's take ego
groundedness and
out of
then
it, because if it becomes too much
I don't
ego,
think so.
and then
I don't think I don't want to. I don't like
negative
to think.
ego, not ego in general. Ego is
All
good.
right, there you
Regular
go. There
ego
you
is
go.
good because you're
There you
wise.
go.
That's heavy. This angel. We all our own entities, so we should be respected as
But
so.
I'm tell you this: in these
But
moments, all things have to bear witness to this
yeah, I
grounding.
say.
You know what I'm saying? Even the negative, everything. You know what I'm saying? All of it is under the same jurisdiction. So when we get to that space of that I
Hmm.
don't know, or we get to that space of the embodiment of these intangibles, or we get to that space of accepting the things that we just ain't got no understanding of and won't have any understanding of, all things are present. Your good ego, your bad ego, you know what I'm saying? Your spirit,
Yeah.
physical, everything is bearing witness to this reality. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I think that we have to remind ourselves in these moments. So my point though is that when we come back to this ground in space, it allows for us to kind of realign with one another, so that way our appreciation in the relationship with one another stays
My
strong and stays solid.
my people have a different concept of nature than most people have of nature.
Hmm.
When I say earth, most people are really saying nature.
Right.
They're not saying earth.
Exactly.
They're not saying earth. They're really saying nature. My people have different words for earth and for nature. Like, and
Okay.
the meanings are different. Most people, they think of nature as earth,
Right.
but they're not the same thing. My people call nature nanamoma. Nanamoma is nature. That is everything.
Exactly.
Everything is nanamoma, is nature.
And Earth
But
is a
earth
part of
is
everything.
something different.
It's a
Yeah.
part of everything.
And
Yeah,
commit, they call it
but
nature.
but but earth, but earth is not, no, no. To my people, that's not earth. Our word for earth is yakni, right? And that first part of that word yak,
Mm.
that means here. That means
So Earth
here,
and nature are
here.
two separate entities. Is that what you're trying to say?
That's a
Earth,
that's a
Or
that's a that's a
earth,
location.
yeah, earth is right. Earth is here. Wherever you are, that's earth.
okay.
Wherever you are, the here, the now, that's earth.
Hmm.
See, our concept of heaven is different. Uba is different. But when you understand that earth is here, wherever you are, that is earth. But everywhere you go has a level of nature to it, meaning it embodies a part of the everything,
Of
right?
course.
And it's kind of a it's
I
kind of
get
a
you.
hard concept to kind of express right now. But you will always be on earth.
Yeah.
You'll always be on earth.
So even if
You
heaven,
you
even
know
if you go to heaven, what is that called? Is that not another space, or is that
Whatever
still
way
see
Earth?
See,
Remember what he said. He
see,
said
no,
the
see,
earth is the right
earth,
now. So wherever your consciousness is
earth,
currently experiencing is the right now. So even if that's heaven
see,
or
it's not a,
hell or whatever face space of
yeah, it's not a
dimension, that's still
location.
right now.
It's a time.
Yeah.
It's more of a time thing.
Okay, I
It's more
like
of a
that.
the here and the now. It's not
Mhm.
where's heaven? Can someone point me to heaven?
Mm.
The North Pole.
It's more of like an arriving,
So
like it's somewhere you
where
arrive
where
to
where
in a space and time
Everybody knows
that
yeah,
the
you
North
where's it
exist
Pole,
in.
brother.
located? Like
Yeah.
where, where's this location that everybody talks about? You see it like that doesn't it's not it's not a it's not necessarily limited to a place. It's not a place. It's a mind thing. It's a it's an experience.
All right, so I
It's
got a
a
question. I got a question for you
Mhm.
because I've heard you, and I got a little bit of understanding of your background. You know what I'm saying? But from in many instances, I've heard you equate God to He, and I even heard Crystallize do this in the conversation as well. Why do you, with the man that you are, with the level of understanding that I know you to have, why do you constantly associate God with He?
um because when there's a level of expression. Typically, when I'm talking about the feminine aspects, I'll name that feminine aspect, right? For instance, the aspects of creation that we know of, right? That when we think of, these are more so these are more so acts that were imagined by the masculine part. Now, the work that was done was through the feminine part.
I got
You
you.
see what I'm saying?
I got you.
When people talk about, say, a Holy Spirit, no, that's a feminine thing.
Absolutely.
That's a feminine thing. The conduit that was used to
The
bring
actions.
that to be, the actions, right? That was a very feminine thing. You see what I'm saying? But the mind frame in which it came out of was a masculine thing.
For sure.
It was a very masculine thing. So when I'm talking about that, I'm typically coming from that mind frame,
Right.
from that space of the mind frame. But if we go into the acts and how it went about, you can't talk about it just from that perspective. You have to
Mm-hmm.
know, and this is what I tell females all the time. Many women don't know the part that the feminine played in creation. I'm not just talking about creating a human. I'm talking about the acts of creation in totality.
Mhm.
What parts were feminine? What parts were masculine? Most people don't know that. They
And,
don't.
I, and
They're not familiar with
I'm
that.
glad you said that. One of the things that I had to do, the scriptures in Exodus 10, excuse me, Exodus 21 says to honor thy mother and father. I know the father to be the instructor and the mother to be the law, right? So, and I view
Right.
them as my parents the same way my mother and father is my parents, right? So that I have done is that when I talk about God, I usually either say it or they. You know what I'm saying? In an attempt to be able to, open up that vastness so people could be able to see the dual aspect of this concept. But I was just curious because I know study. I know I know a little bit about some of the things that you share with me. But I know that I've heard you over the course of this conversation say God is He. Now, crystallize. What about you? Because I heard you say God is He as well.
Well,
What's your
I,
thing?
I don't think you should anthropomorphize God, or God is not corporeal, meaning like not physical. We are the expression. It's more. I see God as a mechanism, and kind of like I said, the highest.
Careful, because you just said we are an expression, and we are man and woman. We are
No, no, no. Okay,
anthropomorphized
we're
identity.
the highest form of God's expression on this plane, but God, in my words, is all possibility. Like I said, that's the highest expression I've called of God
Hold on.
to
You
encompass
said he
God.
though, brother. I just want
Huh?
to make sure we clear. You used the word he earlier.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just generalized topic. But I feel like it's a masculine and feminine aspect of God. You can use God in his masculine nature. It's a heavenly father and a heavenly mother. Just to make it simple, so it's graspable by children. You want it to be a child to be able to grasp it as well, or else you overcomplicating it. But in totality, between intellects, intellectual males, you feel me? It's all possibilities, because it's something that as a man we all can tap into that energy of faith. When you tap into that energy of faith and get creative, you can say right now, I'm gonna be a multimillionaire next year. Now you have to, like you said, you have to embody that energy of a millionaire in order for you to grab that space. So you can say that, and as a man, and the God will give you the power to make that happen. But unless you can embody the energy of a millionaire, you'll never truly be able to grasp that reality. It won't actually be tangible for you. It'll just be some shit you made
And,
up.
and also to that, and to your point, like it's in the English language. There is no gender neutral pronoun. You don't. What is the gender neutral pronoun?
They
You know,
them.
we live today where
They
people
them.
are just
They them. They them.
yeah,
Because
but
they could be
them,
a group of men and women. Them could be a group of men and women. So it's neutral. So I'm just saying,
but
like in the
but
grand
but but
scheme,
when you're trying to express that source
right?
to a certain degree, it's not a they. You know, it's a
I
singular
get you. No,
Yeah.
no.
phenomenon.
Okay, now watch
You get
this.
what I'm saying?
Okay, now watch this. Now I'm gonna ask you and you are more astute in this than I am. So you're gonna be, from my understanding, when we go into the Hebrew text, right? When we start dealing with
Hmm.
from a biblical standpoint,
Hmm.
the pronouns he was introduced